Hello, my dear viewers, and welcome to day 11 of the 12 Days of Death. It's hard to believe we're already here. Man, time flies by very quickly, doesn't it? Well, let's get to day 11 and see what kind of present Santa Kimimura has for you today.
You are powerful. I can see it.
Who are you?
Your despair.
Okay, you're strong. But are you fast enough? Don't move.
I suppose it can't be helped. They're fake.
Stop wasting my time. You're going down.
Behold the truth.
What is that?
Supernova. I saw you could pierce the fabric of our dimension, so I cast an illusion to disguise this. Witness oblivion. I'm free. So you are.
So, Virgil versus Sephiroth. This is yet again another death battle I have had people begging me to talk about, and I really don't get why. I actually really like this death battle and think it's one of the best, but apparently, although this is admittedly mostly coming from the Devil May Cry fans, imagine my shock, are trying to call bullshit on this fight, saying that Death Battle screwed over Virgil and lowballed him. Okay, well, to that I would say prove it. Now, the most proof that has been thrown my way is I've had Devil May Cry fans point out to me a part of the manga that proves that Virgil and Dante scale to universal level. Okay, if that is the case, here would be my question to ask you. Was this part of the manga canon at the time of this death battle? Because you and I both know Death Battle has a bad habit of doing death battles at the wrong time when certain things are not necessarily complete. But another question I would have, is this manga a part of the canon, or is this some kind of side material? That would be my question. So if what you claim is true about A, Virgil being universe level, and B, Sephiroth's mental manipulation not being able to work on Virgil, even though Death Battle showed evidence of Virgil falling ill to mental manipulation, well, prove it to me, and if you can prove it without any bullshit, then I'll consider making a debunking video, Devil May Cry fans. Deal? Okay, because outside of the claims of this being another Link versus Cloud situation, which I also debunked, I actually think this is a perfectly fine death battle. Although I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of the matchup. I'm not certain why they picked Virgil. I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of reason, but for the life of me, I can't think of it. I mean, I guess it's because they're both katana-wielding people who have parents that are doomsday people. I really don't know. I'm sure there's a reason, and if there is a reason why these two have fought, you could probably call me a dumbass for not being able to pick up on it. I just wasn't the biggest fan of this matchup, although I will say it's not as bad as some of the other matchups I've seen. Like, some people unironically said that Sephiroth should fight Ulquiorra from Bleach. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into that discussion. But outside of the Devil May Cry fans calling bullshit on this, which, let's be honest, they would have done regardless, I think this is perfectly fine, and I don't get why there were so many people begging me to talk about this as if it's on par with some of the worst death battles ever. I mean, I get some people don't like it when they watch their favorite character lose, I get that. But what you have to understand about Sephiroth is he's no pushover. Even if you could prove that Virgil is universe level, okay, Sephiroth has gone toe-to-toe with universe busters before, and has gone toe-to-toe with multiversal level threats. So what exactly would that mean to Sephiroth? Sephiroth is still most likely far more powerful because he's gone up against multiversal threats. So, I don't know what the argument would be there from these Devil May Cry fans, but like I said, if they can somehow prove any of this stuff, I'll consider trying to make a debunking, although I'm certain no matter how you look at it, Sephiroth would have most likely have won this. But outside of that, and my disliking of this matchup, not because it's necessarily the worst matchup in the world, it just felt like Virgil was a little bit of a random choice. Now, like I said, I'm certain there is a reason. If you want to leave in the comment section why this death battle was a thing, please feel free to let me know, because like I said, sometimes I'm not able to pick up on some of these reasons why people want these matchups to happen, or why death battle in particular wants these matchups to happen. Sometimes I'm able to get an answer, sometimes not. But everything else here is great. Starting off with the analysis, I will admit, if what the Devil May Cry fans say is true, then yeah, they did lowball Virgil, and that is unacceptable, and that did show that they did not do a good job in the analysis. But if that is the case, then to that same degree, you could say the same for Sephiroth, because Sephiroth also scales to people like Sora. That's something to keep in mind. It has been proven that Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy take place in the same multiverse. So yeah, Sephiroth's fight with Sora, that's canon, so that does mean that Sephiroth does in fact scale to Sora. And let's just say if Sora is more powerful than Virgil, well, let's just say you're kind of fucked, DMC fans. But for the most part, from what I've seen of the analysis and based on what I know, although admittedly I'm more of a Final Fantasy guy than a DMC fan, I don't know very much about Devil May Cry, to be honest. I know very little about it, but I will admit that the analysis could possibly have been fucked if the information I've been told is in fact true. However, what I want to focus on is the fight, which I do believe this is one of the best fights they've done. It was pretty much perfect. I didn't see very many flaws in the animation that I could have picked out. Like, everything is absolutely great. I love the effects, I love the fast pace of this fight, and this is probably one of the best sword fight death battles they've done. I remember they've done sword fight death battles in the past, and they've been kind of crummy. I've already spoken on Cloud versus Link, which could have been so much more, and Guts versus Nightmare, which was a pathetic excuse for a sword fight that lasted a few fucking seconds and could have been so much more. This is probably the best they've done in regards to sword fights, and I really love it. And another thing I absolutely adore about this death battle is the voice actors, especially in regards to Sephiroth. Whoever they got to play Sephiroth did a perfect job voicing him, and I absolutely love the voice they gave Sephiroth. It's better, and in fact, I'm willing to say it's a lot better than the voice they gave Sephiroth in Advent Children, which was one of the first time we ever got to hear Sephiroth's voice. I actually prefer that voice that Death Battle got for Sephiroth over the one they got in the movie. Funny how that works out. Death Battle managed to do something that I liked better than something that Square Enix was responsible for. That's kind of rare to come across. Usually Death Battle likes to, you know, fuck everything up. So, bravo on that one, Death Battle. And the voice actor for Virgil also did a pretty good job, although they probably could have gotten someone to do a slightly better job. But again, it's not really bad. From what I've heard of Virgil, it sounds fine enough. And the character models look incredible, but most likely they got these models from the game, so that's probably to be expected. Of course, these models are going to look great. And the results, I say the results are fine. I mean, again, DMC fans call bullshit. I say it's fairly accurate, and Sephiroth most likely would win this fight, so I don't really have too many problems with the results. But if I do come across something that is off about the results, I will make another video and I will debunk this, because not all my reviews are intended to be debunkings. Sometimes I'll do a review and a debunking combo, and other times I'll do them separately. So don't think that my opinions on the results are necessarily set in stone. If I'm shown information that proves me wrong, I'll gladly update my thoughts on the results, and it will be no different here. However, as it stands right now, I would say the results seem accurate to me. And the soundtrack is also damn good. I just wish they could have incorporated a little bit more of Sephiroth's iconic one-winged angel theme. Like, I get that they used it for like a few seconds, so maybe I shouldn't complain too much. I just wish they could have used a little bit more of it because of how iconic that theme is. And it's so synonymous with Sephiroth, and it's such a cool theme. Now, you could say maybe it would have been lazy of Death Battle to just recycle using Sephiroth's theme from the games or the movie. I personally wouldn't have had a problem with it, but maybe that's just because I'm looking at this from the perspective of a Final Fantasy fan, and I'm just so used to that song accompanying Sephiroth. But like I said, they also do use it towards the end, so I probably shouldn't complain too much because it is there. So, what else? Because, again, I do actually think this is a really good death battle, and I'm trying to think of, like, some negatives, but it's very difficult. Outside of some of the lame humor that is basically a staple of death battle at this point, it's hard for me to think of any negatives with this fight. Now, I'm sure if you're a Devil May Cry fan, you're probably scoffing and rolling your eyes, thinking that I should be talking about how bad the analysis and the results are, but from what I've been able to find, I don't see too many problems with it. And again, unless you can show me some evidence that your claims of Virgil being universe level and Sephiroth's mental tricks not being able to work on Virgil, a lot of your main arguments aren't going to be able to get you very far, because Final Fantasy is a supremely busted universe. Don't ever think for 1 second that Final Fantasy is a weak universe. It is one of the most powerful universes in all of gaming, possibly in general. If I ever made a list of the top 10 most powerful universes, yeah, guess what? Final Fantasy would most likely make it on that list, because DMC fans, I don't know if you know just how fucking broken the Final Fantasy universe truly is, if you're thinking that Virgil being universe level automatically guarantees victory. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So if you're going to say that Virgil should have beat a Final Fantasy character, you better have some damn good evidence to back your shit up, because trust me, you will regret fucking with the Final Fantasy universe if you push your luck a little bit and decide, oh, why don't we put Dante against one of the Final Fantasy characters to get revenge. I promise you that won't end well if you decide to get cute about that. But overall, I really do like this death battle. I think it's one of the best ones they've ever done, and I've always been pretty vocal about how good I think that this death battle is. And it's a shame I don't have much more to say, because I know there were a lot of people really hoping and begging for me to absolutely destroy this death battle, and I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I don't see the problem here. Unless you can somehow prove to me your claims about Virgil, I don't see what the issue here is. This was a good fight. Damn good, in fact, and they did show a lot of respect to Virgil and Sephiroth. It's not like they showed Sephiroth absolutely fucking destroying Virgil like he ain't shit, like what happened with Gundam versus Optimus. I mean, these two had a pretty damn good fight, and they seemed to show a lot of respect to one another, and they really did take some time and effort into showing respect for both these characters and their universes, which I'm really glad Death Battle did, because after the shit they pulled with Yang versus Tifa, this is most certainly an apology to the Final Fantasy fan base for the shit they pulled there. Which I can appreciate. After watching Yang versus Tifa, this is a breath of fresh air, because if you've seen my review / debunking of that, oh boy, was that a fucking disaster. And I can tell you right now, Final Fantasy fans were none too happy with that shit. So at least they actually show Sephiroth some goddamn respect here. And at no point has Death Battle ever disrespected Devil May Cry. DMC fans, let's be honest here. Dante versus Bayonetta, Virgil versus Sephiroth. They get the character and personalities down, and they don't disrespect them at all. Also, Dante beat Bayonetta, so I'm not sure what you're complaining about. I think you can take one loss, even if you honestly believe that Virgil was screwed over. I promise you, like I said, if you can prove that Virgil is universe level, guess what, Final Fantasy fans? We can prove to you that Sephiroth is multiversal level. Trust me, this is an unwinnable fight, DMC fans, but I shall await patiently for your response should you choose to try to prove this to me. And as for a final score, I'll give this a 10 out of 10, because I do think this is really good, pretty much perfect, although I will dock it down to a 9 out of 10 if it is proven that the analysis and results were fucked up. I will dock it down to a 9, but there's just so many positives here. The only negatives I can think of are nearly impossible for me to complain about enough to dock it down. Although, again, while I don't personally like the matchup, it's not that I think it's a bad matchup, it's just that it's more of like, personally, I don't think it was the best choice, but that just comes down to like my personal taste. I get that sometimes my matchup ideas don't always align with what like Death Battle thinks is a good matchup or what the general audience thinks is a good matchup. And I'm willing to accept that this may be a very good matchup. It's just not really one I was really enthusiastic about, and I can accept that. But, like I said, I don't think this is a terrible matchup by any means, not by any stretch of the imagination. And everything else is great. The voice acting is perfect, the animation is perfect, the soundtrack is incredible. My only request is, I would have loved a little bit more One-Winged Angel, you know? And outside of some of the lame humor, this is damn good, and I really don't understand what the big deal is. But leave your thoughts. What do you think of Sephiroth versus Virgil? Let me know. Do you think that this is a really bad one and they fucked this up just like they did with Yang versus Tifa? Or do you agree with me and you think that maybe the DMC fans might just be being a little bit butthurt that Virgil lost? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you are interested, let's take a sneak peek at what we have for day 12, the big final day of the 12 Days of Death, and I will see you guys tomorrow for that big day. So, let's have a peek.
Getsuga Tensho!
Rasengan!
Getting on my nerves. Like right now, you are the most annoying thing in my life, with the possible exception of Evite.
What's this?
It's this website you can use to invite people to stuff.
Does it have to be a significant event?
No, not at all.
Well, do you just get the invitation and that's the end of it?
No, it'll remind you about it constantly.
Is there any way I can customize this to showcase my personality through familiar clip art?
Yes!
And what about those replying? Can they demonstrate their sense of humor through hilarious replies?
Yes to everything you're saying.
I'm so excited to get started!
You do that while I jump out this window.
Evite. Tell a friend and then kill yourself.